How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to another video. So in today's video, we are going to be doing another tier list today, and we're going to be ranking every Premier League club's record signings. Now, I thought this would be a good idea considering it is the transfer window, of course, and multiple clubs will be breaking their transfer record this summer. In fact, a lot of them already have, such as Liverpool and I think Sunderland and some others as well. So, I thought it would be a good idea to sort of check, is it worth it? Is it worth breaking the bank for each club? Look back at sort of their track record. So I've gone through every Premier League club and I found their current, as a recording, record signing, and I'm going to put them into these tiers. So we have a bargain, good signing, average, meh, and flop. Pretty simple. Now, I should sort of make a disclaimer here, of course. For example, Liverpool signing like Wirtz, I'm not going to include Wirtz in this tier list, so I'm just gone for like the second person below, because how am I meant to judge them? So yeah, let's see how many are in bargain, how many are in flop. Then at the end of the video we can see sort of how many record signings for each club actually end up good. But let's get into it. So we start with Everton, and Everton was a little bit of a complicated one. So actually their record signing was, I think, still Gylfi Sigurdsson, but that was a very long time ago, and I mean, I don't really want to go into what happened there, so I thought I'd just go for the second one because it's a little bit more interesting and more recent, and that is Amadou Onana. So Amadou Onana joined from Lille. Say he joined in 2022. Let me double check that actually. Yeah, it was 2022 for around £35 million, and he only stayed for 2 seasons before leaving for Aston Villa, but they made a sizable profit on him. He was very good for Everton. Actually, he was quite important to them because even though he only stayed for 2 seasons, I remember those 2 seasons, Everton were really fighting to stay up under Lampard. Like, they were under serious threat of going down, and Onana was one of their key players in helping them stay up. So he did a lot for them in those 2 seasons, and of course they pretty much doubled their money by selling him to Villa for like 60 million. So for that reason, I think this was a bargain. I think it really was. As I said, it helped out the team, made a sizable profit on him. Pretty good signing from Everton there, so yeah. Next up we have Crystal Palace, who I was quite surprised by this actually. Their record signing is still Christian Benteke, who joined them back in like ages ago now, it feels like, from Liverpool. So he actually joined Palace in 2016, and he is still their record signing. I think they paid like 35 mil for Christian Benteke from Liverpool, and I mean, yeah, he didn't really live up to expectation. I mean, his first season wasn't too bad actually. He got 15 goals, but then after that, 3 goals, 1 goal, 2 goals, 10, and then 4. Like, he just wasn't what they expected, what they had hoped for. Starting number 9, but he was fairly inconsistent. I'm not going to say flop though, just because sort of the years of service he gave to Palace. Like, he stayed at the club for 6 years. He contributed somewhat to the team, so I think that's enough to boost him up to meh. But yeah, not the greatest from Palace. next up, this one was really weird. So, is Sunderland, and like Sunderland, pretty much their top 10 most expensive signings all are from this window. So I had to go a long way back here to find someone, and the most expensive guy who was not signed from this window, who I could find, was Didier Ndong. Now, Ndong is pretty funny because this is gonna be a straight flop. I must admit I didn't really know too much about him, but they signed him from Lorient, and I looked into this when they were back in the Prem. This was a long time ago, and it was like 14, 15 mil, which was quite a lot at the time. And he came in, was okay in his first season, but Sunderland got relegated to the Championship, and then he stayed with them, or I think he actually went out on loan and then came back, but then Sunderland got relegated to League One, and then Ndong like basically just went like on strike, and he was like, I want to leave the club. He refused to come back to the club like from pre-season and stuff. So they started like threatening legal action against it. It was a whole thing, and in the end his contract was terminated at Sunderland. So I mean, if that's not a flop, I don't know what is. Alright, next up we have Jorginho Rutter for Leeds. So Rutter joined Leeds back when they were in the Premier League, and this was in 2023. He joined for quite a big fee from Hoffenheim for like 35 mil, something like that, I want to say. And to be fair, his first season in the Premier League was quite poor. He didn't get a goal, only one assist. But that Leeds team in general were really bad, and they got relegated that season. However, the next year he was sensational in the Championship, one of the best players in the Championship. Unfortunately, he wasn't able to get Leeds promoted, but he was fantastic. And Leeds actually did manage to sell him on after that to Brighton. I think they made a little bit of profit on him. So overall, I would say it was a pretty good signing. I made a little bit of profit on him. He was very good in the Championship for them, but he did only give them really one season and then left. So I can't really call it a bargain because he only stayed for literally like one season and then left. So yeah. Next up we have Zeki Amdouni, who is the record signing for Burnley, and this one's a little bit strange as well. So he joined Burnley back in 2023 when they got promoted to the Premier League under Vincent Kompany. He played a lot, but sort of like Rutter, that Burnley team was very bad in the Premier League, obviously got relegated, so he did struggle quite a bit. Then last season he didn't want to play in the Championship, was actually loaned to Benfica, where he did okay, but was sort of used as a rotational guy. And now he's back at Burnley, but I believe he's actually sadly in pre-season got like a really serious injury, which is going to rule him out for a lot of his season. So yeah, his Burnley career really hasn't got going yet. I'm just going to put him an average for that. Like, he's only really played one season for Burnley, had a season out on loan, and now is back at Burnley. He's still got time. We'll see what happens. I think they spent like 18 million or something on him. As of right now, I'm just going to say average because we really haven't seen too much of him yet. Next up, we have Moussa Diaby, who is Aston Villa's most expensive signing of all time. So he signed back in 2023 for Villa from Bayer Leverkusen, and I believe it was about like 50-60 million-ish in that region. And I mean, he was okay for Villa. He was alright, but he definitely didn't live up to that price tag. He got 6 goals and 8 assists that season, and in general was, like I said, he was okay. He was fine, but I mean, he wasn't always a regular starter for Villa, and I mean, it was a decent first season. But then Villa actually sold him just after one season because a Saudi club came calling, and they managed to pretty much make most of their money back on him. For that reason, I'm just going to keep him average again, like, sort of, I mean, it's sort of similar to Ritter, but to a less extent, right? Like, they got most of their money back. He only stayed for one season, but unlike Ritter, he was okay. He wasn't amazing in that one season. I mean, he was alright. So, I think it was a pretty average signing, all things considered. Next up, we have Morgan Gibbs-White, who is Nottingham Forest. Record signing. So he signed for Forest all the way back in 2022 from Wolves, and I believe it was about £35 million fee, and this has to be a bargain. Yeah, he was fantastic. He joined them after they got promoted to the Premier League and instantly became one of their best players. He's been there for 3 seasons now. Last season was absolutely sensational. He's one of Forest's best players. Now, as a recording, I don't know what's happening with him and Spurs. He might leave, he might not. But either way, it's still a bargain. Forest will likely get quite a big profit out of Gibbs-White, and even if they don't, he's definitely justified his price tag as one of Forest's best players in the Premier League the last couple of seasons, so definite a bargain. I mean, Darwin Núñez, though, on the other hand, definitely a flop. Yeah, Darwin Núñez is, as I mentioned earlier, he's not the record signing anymore for Liverpool, that is Florian Wirtz, but Darwin Núñez is seconds, signed for around like 65 mil initially. I think it rose to like 80 mil. Either way, that's really irrelevant because if we're being frank here, complete flop. Yeah, Liverpool thought they were signing their number 9 to sort of take them to the Prem, and I mean they did win the Prem with Darwin Núñez in their squad, but Núñez was not a key player. Núñez has had about 3 seasons now at Liverpool, and he's had his moments here and there, but has come nowhere near to justifying that price tag. It's never really been a regular starter at his time at Liverpool. Again, like Gibbs-White, I'm filming this before any sort of move is happening. I don't know, maybe he might leave and Liverpool might be able to get some of that money back, but either way, that's not really going to change my outlook on this transfer. It was a flop. Yeah, it didn't work. They spent a lot of money on him, and he just didn't really live up to expectation for Liverpool. Now, Alexander Isak, on the other hand, is a definite bargain. Yeah, Isak is Newcastle's record signing, having joined from Real Sociedad. I think it was around 64 million pounds they spent on him back in 2022, and that was very much money well spent. He has, of course, emerged as one of the best strikers in Europe at Newcastle. And again, I'm filming this before anything happens, but I'm sure they will more than double that money they spent on him. They're going to get a sizable profit. He has been a key player for them, helped them win their first trophy in many years, go to the Champions League as well. So, yeah, easy one there. Now, Lucas Paquetá, on the other hand, is a very interesting one and quite hard to judge. So, Lucas Paquetá is the record signing for West Ham, having joined from Lyon back in 2022. I think it was again around like 40 million-ish region, I want to say. Yeah, this one's really complicated because, I mean, since he's joined, Paquetá has been one of West Ham's best players. He's been very, very good, very impressive. I believe, was he there? No. Oh, I was going to say he won the Conference League with them, but I think he joined that year they won it. So, but yeah, either way, he's been fantastic for West Ham. He's been one of their better players. But the thing that makes this complicated is the whole betting thing. Again, I don't know what's going to happen with that as of right now, but there is a chance that Paquetá is going to be charged by the FA and banned from football, which would really hinder this transfer. West Ham wouldn't be able to get a fee for him, right? But if he isn't banned, I reckon West Ham could sell him to someone for probably make a profit on him. So I really don't know what to do here. Either way, I'm just going to put him in good signing, because I think if we're ignoring that, so far he's been a good signing. As I mentioned, Paquetá on the pitch has been very good. He's been one of West Ham's best players the last couple of years, and has definitely justified that price tag, but we'll see what happens in terms of that betting thing. Next up, we have Arsenal, and their record signing is, of course, Declan Rice. So Declan Rice joined for a lot of money back in 2023. I think it was around 100 mil. It was, if not 100 mil, was very close to it. And I think a lot of us at the time were like, wow, that they've massively overspent there on Declan Rice. But I think he quickly proved all of us wrong. In 2 seasons at Arsenal, he has emerged as one of Arsenal's most important and best players. Super consistent. He's been really good. One of the best midfielders in the Premier League. I'm going to say good signing. I don't think I can call it a bargain just because of the sheer amount of money spent on him. You would have to do something extraordinary to be a bargain and cost almost 100 mil, right? But he's still been a very good signing. So yeah, good signing. Next up, Wolves. Matheus Cunha is their record signing, and this is an easy bargain. They signed him from, I believe, Atletico Madrid, all the way back in 2022. Joined on a loan with an option to buy. They made that permanent. A little bit of a slow start, his first season in the Prem wasn't scintillating by any means, but then once he got going, wow, he was fantastic. And last season we really saw the best of him. One of the best attackers in the Premier League last season. Then of course Wolves managed to get a sizable profit on him, selling him for 60 odd million to Manchester United. So they pretty much doubled their money on him. He was pretty much carrying the team on his back at points the last 2 seasons, helping make sure they didn't get relegated. So it's an easy bargain. Now Jack Grealish, on the other hand, is a very interesting one. So Grealish is Manchester City's record signing, having joined the club for 100 mil back in 2021. And this is quite hard to judge, but I think it has to be a flop. Now, I don't think Grealish has been bad entirely at City. He's had some good seasons, the year they won the treble, was it 22-23? I mean, he was pretty decent, he was a key contributor to the team, but overall, that's probably been his only decent season. All the other seasons, he really hasn't been great. The first season he joined, he was awful, and his last season, assuming he leaves this summer, has been awful. Like I said, he probably will be leaving this summer as well. They're going to get nowhere near the amount of money that he wanted. And yeah, I mean, for 100 mil, you would have hoped for more than at least one good season, right? You would have hoped for a couple really good seasons. And even that good season from Grealish wasn't amazing. He was alright. And yeah, it's really disappointing because, of course, the player we saw at Aston Villa was just so good, and he went to Man City, and yeah, I don't know what happened to him, but he just completely changed as a footballer, and he's never really same, and sadly we've not seen that Villa Grealish at Man City, and they probably wasted 100 mil on him. Next up we have Dom Solanke, who is a record signing for Spurs, having joined last season actually, for around 60 million from Bournemouth, and I'm going to keep him here on average. I think it was an okay first season from Solanke, in a very difficult Spurs side. The team was very bad, but he did okay. Like, he contributed alright. He got 9 goals in the Prem, 5 in the Europa League, obviously helped them win the Europa League. Like I said, it was a very dysfunctional team. He wasn't amazing, but he wasn't that bad. So I would say so far he's been pretty average, right? Like, we'll see. We'll see how he does next season, but yeah, I mean, it's okay right now from Solanke. Smith Rowe, I would probably say meh. To be honest, Smith Rowe is the record signing for Fulham, again having joined last season for around 35 million. Now, we started off really well at Fulham, but slowly sort of tailed off. Second half of the season wasn't fantastic. Wasn't always a regular starter at Fulham. So that's why I say meh. Like, you know, he's not a flop or anything. And of course, it's still early days. He's only had one season. We'll see how he does. But I think for now, maybe expected a little bit more from him. But yeah, I mean, it was an alright first season. Moises Caicedo, on the other hand, is definitely a good signing. Very similar to Declan Rice. I think we actually joined in the same summer. Both for very large fees, over 100 million, Moises Caicedo. And he started off, unlike Rice, who started off very well, Caicedo started off awful. Absolutely awful. I will admit that as a Chelsea fan, he was very bad at the start, as he sort of adapted to Chelsea and adapted to the pressure and everything. But once he got going, he has not looked back, and his end to not last season, the season before was very good, and then last season he was our best player. He was fantastic, and like Rice has emerged as one of the best midfielders in the league. Again, like Rice, because he costs so much, I cannot call you a bargain, but you're still a good signing. Next up we have Igor Thiago, who is Brentford's record signing. Another one who joined last season from Club Brugge for around 35 million. And yeah, for now it's gotta be a flop. Like, of course this can change, because, you know, for these players like Igor Thiago, Smith Rowe, Solanke, they're still at their clubs, so it can change. But if I'm speaking just for now, it's gotta be a flop, right? They spent so much money on him as sort of the Ivan Toney replacement, only for him to be injured pretty much most of the season, and then when he was fit, barely played. I mean, he only played 8 games last season, didn't get a single goal contribution. For like 40 mil record signing, that's a flop. But as I said, we'll see what happens this season. Hopefully he can get on the pitch this time and stay fit, and maybe he can actually move himself up. But for now, he's a flop. Next up, Evan Nilsson, who is another one who joined last season. Record signing for Bournemouth. Having joined from Porto, he was actually the replacement for Solanke, and I will place him pretty much next to Solanke. I think so far, so good for him at Bournemouth. It was a solid first season, got double digits for goals in the Premier League, which is not too bad. I think overall was pretty decent. Unfortunately, got an injury, ruled him out for sort of towards the end of the season, but yeah, so far he's been alright. Sort of been what you expected from that price tag. Excited to see how he does next season, see if he can kick on, but yeah, so far he's been alright. I'll put him an average. Alright, next up we actually have Jorginho Rutter again. yeah, I did not expect this, but Jorginho Rutter is actually the record signing for not one but two Premier League teams. Really random, but yeah, he is the record signing for Brighton. I mentioned Leeds sold him on for a profit, and they actually sold him to Brighton for around 40 million, and that is also Brighton's record signing, so he's making another appearance now. Now he joined last season, so he's another one who's only had one season so far, and again I'll put him in average because it was a pretty decent first season. Like, he was alright. Again, I think he had a couple injuries and stuff, but overall he was pretty good. Excited to see how he does next season and kicks on. But so far so good for Rutter at Brighton, and maybe he can surpass Leeds Rutter in this tier list at some point. Okay, and finally we have Romelu Lukaku for Man United, who is their record signing. Now this was a long time ago. This was all the way back in 2017 now. He joined for like 90 odd million. I mean, he was very close in being a record signing twice as well here for Chelsea, but he joined United, and I mean, his first season he was alright in terms of goals, but not amazing. And then he quickly tailed off, fell out of favour under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and Mourinho, and he only lasted 2 seasons at United before leaving for Inter, and you would have to say it was a flop, right? Like, yeah, he scored a couple decent amount of goals. He actually got 16 Premier League goals in his first season and then 12 the next, but his actual overall play was quite poor. That's where sort of the Lukaku stuff started, where his overall link-up play was questioned and didn't really fit the system, and yeah, in the end only stayed 2 seasons. He was meant to be the man, the number 9 for United, but clearly wasn't. But there we go. That's the tier list. Now, interestingly, we have 5 in flop and 4 in bargain, but we have 4 in good signings. So, in conclusion, actually most record signings tend to be good signings. So, or at the very least, average. So yeah, there we go. But let me know if you agree or disagree with those picks, and if you have enjoyed it, please do leave a like, consider subscribing, and I'll see you in another